Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, today I'm going to be taking a look at a pistol grip style ground, car boat controller by Radiolink. I was sent this recently from Radiolink to take a look at it for review. This is the model number is RC6GS GC 2.4 gigahertz pistol grip style controller, and really this is a really good controller for the price, because I think this thing runs well under $100, but it comes with something you don't usually see at this price point. That is a built-in gyro on the receiver. Let me turn it around the correct way. Hopefully that will focus in. It says right on here that it's got gyro inside. I don't know if that's going to show up in my camcorder or not, but the nice thing about a gyro is, and I've never had a receiver system with a built-in gyro. That's a relatively new technology. I'm used to just a basic 2 or 3 channel controllers, and of course this is, you can see on the box, is a 6 channel, and we'll go over all those channels here in just a moment. But the gyro adjusts the steering, and it allows you to keep the car in a straighter line when you're going really quick, which so many of these cars nowadays, being brushless, go really fast. So it helps you to keep the car under better control, and we'll be testing that out. I'm going to put this into my DHK Maximus, which is, it goes over 40 miles an hour. It's a 1/8 scale. It's very large. It's difficult to keep it in a straight line. We'll see how much, if any, which I think it will, that this built-in gyro will help maintain better control over the Maximus. So this is just the receiver. As you can see, it's got 6 channels here. There's not much else to go over with the receiver. It's relatively small, as you can see, and compared to the receivers from years ago, but ordinary size for all the receivers you see nowadays. So let's look at the controller here. Let's move the box out of the way, and here it is. It's a rather large controller, I will say that, but it's really comfortable, nice foam grip on the wheel. Just a really nice big controller. It has a rather long accelerator here on the throttle range. Something I'm not quite used to having that much, but that gives you, the ability to probably set your expos to where you don't have to go straight to top speed with a small amount of movement. So in the end, it's probably going to be beneficial to have such a long, I guess you can call, throw of the throttle lever here. But let's go ahead and let's take a look at the sides here. You've got like a that's like some sort of external port here. Here's your on and off switch, and here's a micro USB connector. You can connect this, so I guess might be for a firmware upgrade. I'm not really sure. Unfortunately, I didn't get any instructions in my box. This was sent to me by Radiolink, but it came through Buddy RC, and for some reason there's just no instructions. But the instruction manual, I've looked at it, and it's not very comprehensive. You need to get the online manual if you really want to dig into the details of it. But and here's your on and off switch. Just go ahead and flip it on, and this one takes AA batteries, so I just got AA batteries in here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 AA batteries. I think you can also buy a lithium ion or LiPo to put into this. But anyway, here is the menu. It's just an LCD, it's not color. If you hold down on the exit button here, you got exit, you got your minus and plus, like declination, inclination, to move through the menus, and your enter button here to confirm something. Just press that, and you'll see here is your channels. So your channel 1 is your steering. Let me move it over here so I get a better view. And your throttle is going to be your channel 2, forward and reverse. I've already tested this here in my room on my Maximus, and I did have to servo reverse my throttle. So, because forward was reverse, reverse was forward. So, pretty common thing. Your channel 3, I think, is this button here. Let's see. No, that's channel 4. On the side here is channel 4 on this button. Your dial here is your channel 3. And this is by default set to adjust the gyro sensitivity and how much you want it to affect the steering. So here's your channel 3. Then these switches here, you've got this one right here is channel 5. I know there's a lot of glare, guys. I'm going to try to move this so you don't. Channel 5, and this is your channel 6 here on these. So just put these back at the neutral position. See channel 3 here, I try to keep it at 0 so I'm going to start out, and then press this button here. I think that's adjusting obviously the I said channel 4 back and forth, just either way on that button. All right, so go ahead and exit out of that, and let's go into the menus. You can see by default, you're going to see your steering and your throttle on the main screen. And what you do is you hold down the exit and the enter buttons, and that takes you into the menus. You got your language set up, you know, your model name. Oops, I went the wrong way. Press enter. You can select several different models. You can save a bunch of different models for different cars that you use and give it names. I'm not going to worry about that right now. Then you've got like, it's got EPA, I forget what that is. You have your steering expo here. You can set expos on your steering for how sensitive and how much you want to do that. I'm not going to get too in depth with this. There's some other reviews out there that you know, from real car experts that are probably going much more depth than this. Your your steering speed, turn and return there. It's got your throttle expo here for setting the throttle. I mean, this is really advanced, and that's one of the things about this compared to some of the controllers in this price range. They don't usually come with this kind of stuff here. Here's your throttle speed, I believe. This is ABS. I think it's something to do with the braking, but I'm not for sure. Your acceleration, you can set some of these. I think this one may be one where you can, this one idle up. I think that may be for a gas engine, but you know, the back to the accelerator, you can some of these you can set like how sensitive the throttle lever is. Idle up, I think that's for a gas engine. You can set your sub trims, so you can have it already set to a certain trim. You know, you don't, and then you can adjust it further with the outside. You know, here's your trims here. I didn't mention that a while ago. This is your throttle, and this is your steering trim. These little levers you can move back and forth. And here is your servo reversing. As you can see here on the throttle, I've got that reversed because by default it was the wrong way from my system. Here's your dual rate, so you can set this up to limit it so that if you have like a younger kid maybe driving a car that's pretty fast, you can crank this let's see, the throttle down, see, so they couldn't hit top speed. That's nice. You could also set the steering if the kid's if it's a vehicle that's really prone to rolling over and flipping, you could set the steering rates down on that so that they can't steer it near as much. There's an ATL, I forget what that is. Here's your mixers. You can channel mix, you know, different things. This is very advanced. Then you've got your auxiliary channels here. You can assign stuff to that. You know, your different switches we went over a while ago, and the knob. And name, alarm. Here's your gyro. So right now it's turned on and it's set to 49%. You can see I turn the dial here. 50 is where it starts out, you know, by default. And we'll adjust that more once you take it out and drive it to see where it needs to be. But all the way up, it's going to be spastic. It's going to be just terrible because it's going to be adjusting the steering so much that it's so sensitive that, you know, you don't want it all the way up. And all the way down, see, that's going all the way up towards up, all the way down, you know, it's going to do nothing. Or on a really low, like 10% or something, it's going to have very little influence over the stability of the car, of the steering. And here's fail safes. This can let you set, like, you know, what you want it to do if it gets out of signal. Like, it can turn the steering, and like, say you got a boat, you could have it go in circles. You could have it cut the throttle or go to full speed. Like on a car, if it goes out of range, you're probably going to want it to just stop and not drive, keep going away from you. But a boat, you might want to set the boat to steer in circles, or you might want to have it turn and go towards the shore and then give it low throttle so that it continues to drive to the shore and doesn't just do circles in the middle of the pond. And then there's a reset for the controller. So a lot of things in there. I don't understand all of them. There's some other reviews out there with some people who have been into this a little longer than me in terms of the newer technology. I've been into RC cars for 35 years, but they were much more basic back then on the Rush motors and the very basic 2 and 3 channel controllers. They didn't have any menus or anything like that. But I think we got the overall idea of how this works, you know. And it's good just to hook this up to a car like the Maximus. It's going to be very easy to do, and you don't need to get into all the advanced options. About the only thing that's going to be real anything new for someone like me is going to be the gyro. So I'm going to be right back, guys, and I'll bring the Maximus up here and I'll show you how I'm going to install the gyro Radiolink receiver into the Maximus. So we'll be right back. All right, guys, so I have my Maximus up here. You know, this is a huge 1/8 scale brushless truck, and I've already pulled the receiver out of this. This is just a basic, you know, I think it's just a 2-channel receiver here, and it's an auxiliary here, maybe 3. It uses the auxiliary one to power the fan, which you'll be able to use off this receiver here. The fan, I'm talking about the cooling fan that's on top of the big brushless motor. So I'm going to go ahead and set that off to the side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into this same little you know, dust case here where the factory receiver was. Now the factory receiver was just sitting loose in there. One thing we got to be very certain about this one is with the gyro, you want to make sure that this receiver is stuck in there and not able to move around, because that's going to confuse the gyro. If it's moving around, you got the gyro on, you don't want this receiver moving around and confusing the gyro. So you need to make sure this receiver is secured, mounted with, you know, double-sided tape would be the best thing to mount this into this box or wherever you're going to put the receiver in your car, whether it's an upgrade to an existing ready to run like this, or maybe a kit car. You know, I've put this into a Tamiya or Kyosho, some sort of a kit car. So I've already gotten the batteries connected. Now this is not how the batteries obviously go. They go down in here below this. I just didn't mount them in. I still need to charge the batteries up to do the test drive with the system. So you've got your wires here, and this one right here, I believe this is your goes to the on and off switch and then to the ESC. And this other color servo plug here is going to go to, is for the steering. It goes on channel 1. And then this little 2-pin one goes just in any of the extra slots with the negative to the outside. And that is going to power this fan. So I took a picture just so I can make sure I get them plugged in. So I'm going to be glancing over at my phone here. But let's go ahead and we'll plug those wires in. It's really easy. You just got to make sure you plug them in the correct way. So if I can get the receiver out of here, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in the steering servo here, which is a little bit wedged in between my batteries. And then make sure you get it on channel 1. When I first did this, I had the receiver upside down. I plugged it into channel 6. So we're going to plug that in with on this particular one, this darker brown wire here will be to the outside on channel 1. So it just slides right in. It's super, super easy. I know it's probably, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit, guys. That's zoomed in a little bit better. And then you'll take your throttle, your throttle for the on and off switch in the ESC, and that one is going to be the black wire's negative. That's going to go to the outside on channel 2 here. Let's make sure I can get it plugged in. There we go. And that looks like that is correct. So, and then on this particular car, this probably won't apply to yours, but I've got a little 2-pin that just powers, and it shows you on this receiver, you got your negative on the outside here, and then the next is a positive in the middle. So I'm just going to plug this in so that the black and red here on the outside, so we got some power to the cooling fan. All right, and that should be ready to go. Let's go ahead and back out the camera. Now again, I'm going to have this securely mounted in here with the double-sided tape. I'll probably put it this way, and because I need to run this antenna out the little hole out of the case. So this should be good to go if I get everything plugged in correctly. So what I'm going to do is, it's always a good idea to have a car off the ground when you're doing it on the table, because my goodness, if it's already set to go and throttle, a truck like this would just smash this table to bits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just lift it off the ground here while I power it up, but it should be fine. So I already did this. I'm going to turn it on, and here we go. We got steering, and it's all correct. I'll give it a little throttle here. There we go. So it is good to go, and you can see the cooling fan here is running on the I confirm that it is. So you want to make sure that if you have something like this keeps your brushless motor from overheating. All right, guys, so that was super simple. Now I just got to get this secured into place so it doesn't wobble around, and then we'll take this outside once I get these batteries charged, and we'll see how does this do. I mean, I'm not going to have a comparison in this to without. I'm just going to go straight to this, but I'll give you my thoughts on how I think it does compared to the stock setup. I'm certain this is going to be better. I don't know. I just don't know what to expect from the gyro, because I've never had a gyro inside a receiver like this, and I do think it's going to help. But at the very least, this is a better controller, and I have no doubt this is going to be better sensitivity, just better controls overall. The stock controller I got sitting over here, and I don't have it right next to me. I never cared for the stock controller on the DHK. It works fine, it's just not very comfortable. It's kind of cheap feeling. This is gonna be a massive upgrade to the radio system, the TX RX. So let's go ahead and turn that off. All right, guys, so that covers the table review portion of the Radiolink system. What we'll do now is we'll go along and we'll go outside now, and I will do the test drive now with the DHK Maxes to let you guys know how I feel about the system. So we'll be right back. Hey guys, so let's take the Maximus out now with the new Radiolink system in the truck to see how it works, especially with that gyro. Now, I'm starting out here in my garage to get out this wind noise. It's really windy today, so even with my external mic, I don't want a whole bunch of wind noise here as I'm starting to do my talking here at the beginning. As you saw, we got it all installed in here, so I'm just going to power up the Maximus if I can get my hand in here and turn the power on. There, it's turned on. Throw the truck down there. Of course, grab the controller here and turn it on. Make sure we get it all synced up. There we go. Well, let's take it out now and see how this does. So that back wheel, you can see that hub is bent on that back wheel. I've replaced those before. The Maximus design, that hub in there gets bent. It doesn't actually break, but it makes that wheel wobble. Just gonna baby it here for a minute just to see, make sure everything feels like it's working right with the Radiolink system here. Oh yeah, this is really nice. I can already tell an improvement over the controls compared to stock system. All right, so the gyro, we can reduce it by turning it down towards us, and I believe it's going to work while I'm just on the main screen here, but you don't see what it's doing. So I don't know if I don't think I have to be in the actual gyro menu, because I believe I tested it out the other day and it worked on the main screen. But let's see. So we're starting out at 50% gyro. We'll see how this works. So got a lot of wind blowing right at me, guys, so trying to keep the wind noise down. Oh, that already feels really nice. I couldn't even tell if it was doing anything, but I feel, now there's pulling a little bit to the left on me. That could just be some steering trim issues, obviously. So it's pulling a little bit to the left, so I'm just going to do some steering trim here to the right a little bit. Yeah, this is nice. This is a pretty good improvement over the stock system, but I can already tell I don't feel like I'm going to go out of control here and crash into something. I don't even know if I need to mess with the gyro some more. I mean, I could turn it up a little bit more here. Let's go into the menu and make sure when I do change that it actually is. Yeah, the rate's up to 59 here. Let's bump it up to 60%. So yeah, it does adjust it even though you can't see how much you're doing it on the screen. Yeah, that's nice. I've been wanting to upgrade the system for quite a while in this because I'm not a big fan of the stock system, and this is a huge improvement. Thank you Radiolink for sending this out for me to test, because this is really nice. A nice improvement over the stock system. And I'm sold on the gyro. And it's sort of subtle. I mean, I'm not really noticing it doing it, but I can tell when I'm driving this that I'm not having to make little fine-tune adjustments with my wheel like I did on the stock system. Because in the stock system, I always felt like I was sort of just the slightest turn from just wiping out the truck, you know, and tumbling it down the road, and maybe even, you know, at the very least bending those wheel hubs and stuff more, because that rear left wheel is certainly bent. I replaced one of them when it first happened because I thought, oh, that looks bad. Well, I realize now that's just sort of a symptom of this truck. Your wheels are going to get wobbly as those hubs kind of bend in there, and it just makes the whole wheel kind of shimmy. It's not ideal, but it doesn't really seem to affect the performance of the truck at all. But if you want to get those parts, I know RC Hobby Explosion is where I ordered my parts. They were cheap. They were really quick to ship out the parts. In fact, I even called first to talk to somebody, and they were real helpful over the phone. So I can't recommend them highly enough if you need to get parts. That's where I would get your parts, rather than ordering them from China and, you know, waiting forever. Of course, I did get my Maximus from Gear Best, and but yeah, if you're going to get parts, definitely get them here in the U.S. from someone like them. If you're in the United States, of course. If you're in Europe or Australia or someplace, you may have no choice but to buy it from one of the Chinese vendors like Gear Best. I give it a little bit more right steering trim. And we did a speed test. You know, I did a speed test on this a few months ago, and I believe I was at 41 miles an hour. So not quite the 50 mile per hour speed it's rated at, but it's fast, especially if you're someone like me who's never really had much brushless. It seems amazing. Someone who's had a lot of brushless stuff, maybe, you know, a 6S or something, this is not going to be a big deal. Yeah, this works great. This controller, guys, is a huge upgrade. So if you've got something like this truck, something similar to the Maximus, something that feels skittish with the stock system, and you want to upgrade it but you don't want to break the bank, this is the way to go. This is like 70 bucks, I think. I'll include a purchase link to this at Banggood, and probably one at Amazon too, but Banggood is probably going to be cheaper. So you guys could you know, pick this up if you're interested in upgrading your stock radio system with a nice one that's really well made and includes that gyro to help you get more stability. And, you know, it's making those fine-tune adjustments in the steering to help keep the truck under control. Just be sure when you install it, get that receiver secured in there so it's not flopping around. That's going to cause the gyro to make all kinds of unnecessary movements, adjustments to the steering, and make it actually way worse than if it were not even turned on. So, all right, guys, well, I think that's enough because I don't want too long of a video here, but that is the test of the Radiolink RC6GS TX RX Gyro pistol grip, you know, ground system. And I really am impressed with it. I mean, I don't think you're gonna find a better ground controller than this for the price. This is probably, this controller, a comparable one by another brand, is going to cost you probably twice as much. So if you're on a budget and you want a good system without breaking the bank, I highly recommend this RC6GS. All right, guys, that wraps up the review. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope that if you have any questions or anything, be sure to ask those in the comment section, and I'll try to answer them the best I can. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you know when I do upload a new video. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.
The power of the dark side.